We'll get started in just a second. Get everything set up here. This is part 2 of our City of Lanterns live stream build here on Fanboys Forever. Like I said, we're going to give it just a second, and we're going to start. While we're waiting, we'll go ahead and show some of the minifigs that we've already done in part 1. This is the new Monkey Kid minifig that we've got. I think it's the first time we've seen this particular variant with this kind of printing. I believe that he's just kind of in a casual sort of delivery kind of outfit. Looks really good. Love that he's got the map here that's going to lead him to the fire rings. Like I said, not 100% sure of the significance of the fire rings just yet. Probably something that ties in with Journey to the West, the original story. But it's definitely something that's going to be propelling these sets forward, like storytelling-wise. Since the last time we were building, I've got Pigsy here, and with his little hot air balloon, or at least that's what it looks like what you do is you take the backpack off and you have to clip it to the little pitchfork back there. So it's kind of storage so that he can actually fit in here, because last time I was kind of musing about how he really couldn't fit. I probably need to take the little transparent thing off of his back so that he can fit even better, so that he can stand up straight. Let's do that now while we're waiting here. Let's just go ahead and see what we've got. You know, I think that eventually, and I'm not sure how, but eventually Lego will come up with a more elegant solution to backpacks and things, because, you know, what they do now kind of lifts the heads way up, because this is how Pigsy is supposed to look, and just this little bit of plastic is enough to kind of boost the head up to where it makes it look a little odd. And that's not just a Monkey Kid problem. That's, you know, it's one of those nitpicky things. But still, I do think that eventually we're going to see Lego come up with a more elegant solution there. Yeah, that's much better. Just that little bit of plastic being gone made all the difference, because it gives him just enough room to stand up really perfectly straight. And I guess I'll probably just clip this right here, just so that I'll know where it's at when we're going to use it eventually. Really liking this. Like I said last time, he kind of looks like, I don't know, hibachi chef or something in this outfit, and I think it's really cool. Yeah, I really like that. You can see that you can just see his feet in the background right now, but I'll pan up a little bit so you can kind of see what I have going on. I decided why not decorate the background while we're still in the early parts of the building and while we still have room. You can see I've got the Demon Bull King right there, and I have the mini building that you built with, I believe this is from the Monkey King mech, which I'm going to be interested to see if this set can truly top the Monkey King mech, because I'm telling you right now, Monkey King mech is better than most Lego sets I own, and that's just the truth. That's not like a, ooh, I don't know kind of thing. Like, it's completely legitimate to say that it is better than most Lego sets that I've ever owned. And that's a pretty big pedigree right there, because I've had all kinds of different sets and from all kinds of different themes. But I don't have the mech down here, because there wouldn't be enough room. At least not here. We'll go ahead and get bag number 3 out and begin. So this is kind of where we're at so far. This was only the first 2 bags. I kind of started live streaming this a little too late the other night, and realized that most folks weren't going to be seeing it. So I thought, why not hold off before I go too far, and make sure that, you know, actually do it at a reasonable time. I am trying something a little different today, and that's doing it like midday. Don't know how well it's going to work out for most folks. It just so happened, had a day off. So, thought it would be a great time to utilize the time. And, you know, maybe that'll be a good thing for some folks, but maybe a lot of folks are at work. It's hard to say. So what's interesting is, you know how a lot of Lego sets, especially a lot of big ones, there's going to be usually several different numbered bags. Like there won't just be one bag number 3. There's going to be like, you know, 3 or 4. Well, you know, maybe not 3 or 4, but at least 2 or 3, maybe like bag number 3s. And you have to make sure you use all of them to do a certain step. That doesn't appear to be the case here. With this set, I went through earlier and was organizing the bags and happened to notice that really, I think that every single number, there's only one bag per number. So I thought that was kind of interesting and something that I'm really not used to seeing. We're going to take this step number 3, to build up this kind of bottom platform right here. So I guess we can go ahead and begin. It comes with several of these turquoise support pieces, and this is a color that continues to come up with the Monkie Kid sets, and I really like it. It's just this really nice turquoise, and I'm really partial to turquoise myself. All right, and we have more of these beautiful lantern pieces. We see these a lot in those Chinese New Year sets and things. And so they're kind of a really nice little Asian decoration. It gives that little flourish to it. And make no mistake, Monkie Kid takes place and definitely takes place in some kind of futuristic China. It's not like a, oh, gee, this could be anywhere kind of place. No, it's in China. Like it's a fantasy version of China. It's not like Ninjago, where I think Ninjago, you know, of course it's taking place in like a completely fantasy world. But Monkie Kid is taking place in a fantasy version of like a Chinese city or Hong Kong or whatever you want to say. I think that's the difference with locale there. But maybe I was never ever meant to think about it that hard. Maybe that's bad. Probably designers watch this at some point. Man, this guy, he's lost it. All right. If you didn't watch the last live stream, that's okay. But in it, I talked a whole lot about changing my style of Lego live stream. I think before, it was almost this feeling like I was trying to compete with myself or get it done just as fast as possible and getting nervous when I wasn't going as fast as I thought I should. And I decided that was stupid. So we are going to take our time and just kind of chill. Definitely thinking about renaming my Lego live streams, just, you know, chill builds or whatever. Because I think that a whole lot of YouTube these days is rat race kind of stuff. When I say rat race kind of stuff, I mean it's like who can get whatever up first, who can be the fastest. I guess that's cool if you're like making your living on YouTube. I don't make my living on YouTube. YouTube is like, you know, it's just a little something extra I do for fun. So for those guys that, you know, it's their livelihood, I swear, I think they do spend more money on being first than actually what they make. But I could be wrong. I've never been a high yield YouTuber. But I think some of these guys, like in the rush to get some of this stuff, I think that they end up spending more. But maybe that's me. Maybe they're cleaning up and laughing all the way to the bank, and I have no idea. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. All right. Right there. And this goes on the other side. I can only imagine we're doing kind of those bottom levels of the city, those kind of lower supports and things. And it's interesting because I don't know what the gray piece is, what we're going to do with those just yet. Are we going to build something on top of it? Is it going to be more like a city street facsimile? When I say facsimile, I do mean it because I don't think it could be too realistic. And I think that what we're going to see a whole nother style of building with this set. I mean, it's familiar to anybody who's built those little mini buildings, but I think the style of building we're going to see as we keep on with this is going to be that miniature style where it's sort of like a halfway between modulars and city. And with that halfway point, I think we're going to see it on a much larger scale here where we're doing many, many, many more buildings. So this answers a big need. Lots of people have wanted them to do this with the Monkey Kid theme, and me included. That was one of the things that actually sold me on Monkey Kid early on, was that I said, you know, wow, just this cool style that they're doing between city and modular of these buildings. That is just great because that's what I like when it comes to building. Everybody has something different they like. Some people are more geared towards vehicles. But I like miniaturized versions of buildings and rooms and things. I mean, it's funny, but the Lego Home Alone house, that was something that you could get a whole lot of that vibe from, because it was Lego's designers pushing themselves to miniaturize to the point of like no return to make sure that everything got put into that house in a limited space. So I actually think that was a fun idea. You know what's really funny is Lego instruction manuals trying to show you the color of things. I want to show you this. This is supposed to be gold. And here it is beside orange. And it's so hard, I know, like, you know, they can't really print it to look as gold as they want. But that comes into maybe one of these days, all Lego instructions will be digital. And I hope not. I think that we're seeing the signs of that with like the Lego Super Mario stuff, that maybe they're heading towards digital instructions. And gee, you know, I love the books. I like the physical books. And if you do that, if you go down a path of digital instructions, you are alienating a lot of kids in the world. You are, who don't have access to the internet, and they get a toy out of the box and they can't play with it until, you know, they have an internet connection. And I think surely the folks at Lego are smart enough to know that that's not going to work for a lot of kids. Sure, it'll work for most kids out, you know, in the western part of the world, but I don't know. I think that's taking Lego and making it like an electronic toy. And I know that that's what Lego wants. Like, you can tell that's what they want. That they want apps to be integrated with Lego somehow. And they keep trying different ways. And a lot of times it's just not working out. All I can say to people is be careful. Because we all may be pining one of these days for the simple days of old-fashioned Lego sets that come with a book. And you put it together not for app functionality or for electronics, but you put it together because it looked cool. And that's why you put it together. You didn't, and to have fun with it. There wasn't a promise of an app or something like that. And I just made a hilarious gaffe there and put that one upside down. Good thing Technic pins are easy to remove, right? All right, there we go. Excellent. Excellent. Is my audio working okay? Can anybody let me know that? Because every now and then I've had a little bit of a glitch with my audio, or you can't hear me or something like that, or something goes wrong with the video. And I found that it is a very good idea to just go ahead and ask for somebody to put it in the chat that audio is working okay, you can hear me, video is working okay. Those are that's something I neglect to do sometimes, and I worry that maybe I start streaming and maybe something goes wrong and I don't know it. And then you don't know it till it processes and you see the video. It's kind of a mess when that happens. It really is. Kind of a mess. So this is quickly building up. I'm surprised because you have these kind of support beam pieces. And I guess it's doing a whole lot of the work. It's doing a lot of the heavy lifting right there. It's getting a lot of verticality very quickly to the set. So that's cool. All right. It looks like we're building a really strong foundation for the City of Lanterns. Very excited. These are early days, of course, on the build, but I'm excited to see what happens with just the overall look of the city. I think it's going to be very big for kind of a, you know, you don't ever want to say that something like a super expensive Lego set is too budget priced, but I don't know. This is kind of budget priced. Because what you're getting is something that's kind of like a slightly miniaturized version of Ninjago City, like that giant set. And you're getting it for a fraction of that cost. Well, maybe not a fraction, but a heck of a lot less. It's almost like Lego looking at that set and saying, you know that movie, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? By the way, I don't know about you guys. I would buy a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids Lego set so fast, my head would spin right off my neck. Like really, I would be jumping, like I would get to my phone. I would probably crush my phone because I would be so excited trying to tap on the Lego store to get a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids like backyard Lego set. Like good night, that would be awesome. I can't believe I've never thought of it till now either. Am I the only one that's ever like said, hey, this would be great? Think about it. You could brick build so many different things. Man, that would be great. Like giant versions of things. Man, that would just be terrific. Minifigs already lend themselves to the size that Rick Moranis and his family, Buffy's mom, his wife, forgive me for not being able to think of her name. But I think that minifigs already lend themselves to the size that Rick Moranis and his family are in the movie. You know, I've never liked the Honey, I Blew Up the Kid sequel. Like I never got any kind of vibe like it was even kind of like the first one. The tone was way off. Wasn't until years later that I found out why. Apparently, that script was never meant to be a sequel to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. That was like a different script about a giant baby. And I guess Disney or whoever looked at it and was like, hey, we can just, you know, this will be a follow-up to Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And they just tacked it on. It turned out, in my opinion, to be a real bad idea. It didn't have any of the feel of the first movie. But that's neither here nor there. All right. I'm not real sure what this is that I'm building. Some kind of beam with gold connectors. Oh well, I'm all about discovery building. We'll figure it out as we go. And not worry about it till then. Here on Fanboys Forever, we are about chill builds. We don't stress. All right, there we go. Got that in there. Get readjusted. Here's some more of these cool pieces. Almost look like big staffs in a way. There's the other one. I'm really liking the architectural style and the colors of what we're doing so far. I think it's the colors that's going to send this thing right over the edge in terms of design. Because these colors are absolutely beautiful. Is my audio coming across okay, guys? catching up when I finish the job. Oh, yeah. Yeah, awesome, man. Yeah, that'll be great. Absolutely wonderful. I appreciate it. Let's see. Monkey Kid and watching a Monkey Kid live stream. Always a good time. I wonder when Lego Shop at Home is going to get more of these in. Because right now we're on back order. At least that's what we're seeing on the site. You never know exactly what that means. I've seen things stay on back order for a long time on the Lego site. My guess, this is just my guess, is that most of Monkey Kid's production is allocated for the Chinese market. So I think that causes there to be a little bit of a discrepancy in when we can see the sets here or when we can get a full stock of them. And a lot of people don't remember this, but Monkey Kid was a late bloomer for a lot of American AFOLs. Like, I don't think that the hype built till a few months after it launched, because I think it was a word of mouth type of thing where it was sort of a slow build. And what started to happen was the Lego store ran out of all of their Monkey Kid sets, like the entire stock. And because of that, it took months for them to come back in at the Lego store last year. And I don't know, and nobody really talked about it either. I would see things about it in YouTube comments where people were aggravated. They were a little frustrated that they couldn't get a hold of sets that they were seeing reviews for. And I was not a super early adopter into the Monkey Kid theme. As I said in the last part, I was actually slightly perturbed. I was kind of angry at the theme because I thought that it was taking Hidden Side's place. And man, I couldn't have been more wrong about that. Turns out Monkey Kid didn't even have a regular retail release in most parts of the world. So that was, so I was definitely coming in. That was way too hard to get through there. By the way, you may find you have the same trouble if you end up building this. But yeah, I come in at that point, and I remember pining for things like the Monkey King mech, which now is available on Amazon, which is fantastic for the people who missed it. I get a strong feeling, and I said this, I think, in the last stream. I get a really, actually kind of a bad feeling that a whole lot of folks for that Monkey King mech, if nothing else, and I think some of the other sets will end up doing this too. If nothing else, I think you're going to have people who come in very late. Monkey King mech probably retire at least by the end of this year. I mean, I would be shocked if it didn't. And that set is going to go through the roof one of these days. I think it'll be a slow burn. I think it might take a year or two after the actual retirement of the set. But when it happens, it's going to be a massive, massive ordeal trying to get a hold of it. And it's going to be one of those things to where it's by far, in my humble opinion, the greatest Lego mech of them all. There's been a lot of Lego mechs, everything from Voltron to you name it. So I think it'll be huge, though. When that happens, it's going to be kind of huge, also kind of tragic when that happens. And I do see it happening. I see there being a rush on the whole thing. And the thing that I worry about is that because it's not a retail presence, like in an actual physical store, Monkey King is just, Monkey Kid, I mean, is just not going to, it's just not going to get the kind of play it deserves. I mean, truth be told, I could have live streamed a lot of other sets that I'm sure I would have seen a lot more success on, aside from Monkey Kid. But I'm bullish about it. I really am. I'm just stubborn. I think that Monkey Kid is really special. think time will prove me right on that. But I don't think we're going to overnight see that Monkey Kid has this huge, surge in popularity like out of the blue. I wish we would. I mean, that would be great if that's what happened, but I just don't see it. Don't see it. I think if that was going to happen, it already would have. And I don't even see how it's possible when you've got very little chance of media exposure. It's a Amazon Prime streaming show, and the sets are Amazon exclusives. They might as well at this point retitle it to Amazon's Monkey Kid. Not that that's a bad thing. I'm glad that it got all of that. I'm just saying that the chances of it being able to become this huge thing with kids in the U.S. is probably not very big. I think the people that will end up finding out that Monkey Kid was a big deal are AFOLs. I think that they're going to go back, and a lot of the sets will be highly sought after. It's already starting to happen with some of the hidden side sets. Some of those are going way up. And, not all of them, but certainly some of them are starting to be a big deal. Especially the sets, and here's a pattern for you that we see in LEGO constantly. Especially those late sets, the ones that they put out right before the theme goes away. There was hardly U.S. distribution for a lot of the last wave of the Monkey. Oh my, I'm getting them all mixed up now. Of the hidden side sets. There just really wasn't a lot of that distribution. I remember at the time, there was even a last minute kind of delay on all those sets coming out in the United States. And it caused people to get really concerned. And then when they did come out, they weren't available at a whole big bunch of retailers. There was, I think Meyer had most of the big Monkey hidden side sets. But then, after they were gone, they were gone. Mystery Castle, that was a huge deal because now that set is over double in value. Or maybe right at double. Yeah, maybe it's right at double. But it's great to at least see it get appreciated later. But I don't think Hidden Side probably got the appreciation that it deserved right out of the gate. And maybe we can blame the whole app push. Maybe the augmented reality push. Maybe that's to blame. I don't know. We'll never know. And you never know. Maybe. I'm just saying. It's possible that Hidden Side may come back one of these days. It wouldn't be the craziest thing if LEGO suddenly released some more Hidden Side sets. It's not like it's a licensed thing. It's not like it's like a limited deal or something. No, I think that it could very well come back around. Maybe in a different form, though. You may see some of the same characters or the same continuity or something. They may have to end up calling it something different or rebrand it or make it a different sort of thing or drop the app or change the app. I do think the app is on its way out for Hidden Side, so I think there's been even some technical problems with it as fans have been kind of upset as there's certain functionality on that app that's starting to go away. So I'm sentimental. I hate to see things end. Even the end of a toy line. You just want to see things move on into perpetuity. You just kind of continue and continue, but it's not really realistic. That's not the way business is done. And I'll be the first to admit that Hidden Side wasn't necessarily the biggest thing, and there wasn't a whole lot of hype for it. I think I honestly think that a whole lot of it was generated by the AFOL community who liked things like the school and liked things like the seafood restaurant, because I think that was your audience that was building Lego Hidden Side for the builds. They didn't care about the functionality of the app, and I really hope Lego doesn't lose sight of that as a company. That people are more in it, I'll always believe, for the builds. If the builds are good, they'll come. I mean, that's just the truth. Now, I could be proven wrong. Lego may keep pushing on this app functionality until they find the golden goose, and in some ways, they have with Mario. And Mario is brilliant business, by the way. I know people hate this aspect of it, but it's brilliant business. Because what they're doing is they're withholding what people really want, which is just regular Mario sets with minifigs. And instead, they're focusing on this like game aspect. And turns out that's a great way to make money. It really is. And I actually think that most of the Lego Super Mario stuff is kid-driven, parent bias. That's what I'm seeing. That's been my experience. I don't think most of those are adult Mario fans and Nintendo collectors. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Are we going to see the Zelda version of that? And I know people hear that and they're already choking, trying to say, no. But hear me out. I think that whole deal about the board game kind of feel of moving an electronic character around and it sensing different things, wouldn't that work like a lot better from a game that was already a top-down game, like The Legend of Zelda, the original Legend of Zelda? Wouldn't that be a lot more intuitive and a natural fit? That's what I think. I mean, I think that is just a natural fit for Zelda, way more than Mario. Matter of fact, call me crazy, but I'm willing to bet that when Nintendo and Lego first started talking, that they might have tried that first. That might have been, at the beginning, that was what it was. That they were trying out maybe some Zelda concepts that they eventually kind of wrestled over into Mario stuff. It wouldn't surprise me a bit if that's the real truth behind it. All right, we're putting on our first big platform up here, our first airborne kind of platform that adds to the verticality of the whole thing. And it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. Wow. I can already speak of how good and sturdy that is. They've really done a great job of making something that, yeah, it's going nowhere. Okay, great. Well, that makes me feel a lot better about the whole thing. I think it's going to be tremendous when you see just how sturdy that this airborne city kind of is, kind of just hanging in the sky. I think it's going to be wonderful. So this is interesting. I've never seen an angle like this in a Lego instructional manual before. Look at this. They're giving you like from the bottom, like looking up into it, like a 3/4 perspective. That is fascinating. I've never seen that before. But they're trying, but I appreciate that, because what they're trying to do is make sure that you understand where this has to go. So I do appreciate that. I think that's a good move on their part. I'm interested, though, because what it's showing, I'm not really sure what it's trying to tell me. I'll be honest. It had a red circle around these. Is it trying to say, hey, don't put those in these? I don't think that's what that would mean with a red circle. I think these are stability pins that are going to pin this into place. That's what I think it is. But I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, once or twice. Not often. All right, there we go. Okay, wow. I thought the thing was sturdy before. Now they're pinned in. So we're yeah, we're going places now. All right. Don't know what we're building here, but it's funny. So far, this set feels much more technique-y than I thought it would, because so much of building the supports on this is an exercise in Technic pins. Definitely Technic pins everywhere on this thing. Okay. And we're going to be building 2 of these little structures. So here's the first one. What are we going to say this looks like? 2 pencils bound together by metal shackles. That's what we're going to say it is. And first, they told me to build these 2 giant pencils. It was really great. It made me think of the journey to the West. Yeah, I'm one of those crazy people that I want the little indentions like these. They're on one side and not on the other, that I want them to match up. I don't know. Maybe that's when you seek counseling. Maybe that's when you admit you have a problem. But I'm one of those people. I used to not be, but the longer that I build and the longer I'm into Lego, the more I'm like, oh, I want all the little this little logo to face the same way, and I want all these little indentions to face the same way. And so pieces that you wouldn't have to turn, I turn because I want them to face a certain way, or I want them to be in step with one another. And I wonder if that's a minority of builders or if that's a lot of builders. I wonder. All right. So for this, I'm going to have to look at it kind of like what the instruction booklet shows, like having to look at it from this way. So I've got to line it up and I don't know if I'm doing it right or not, but then we put this pin through the top and it's gonna, yeah. And so then that's on there. Okay, yeah, I did it right. Now we're gonna do the same thing to the other side. I've got to make sure that it's aligned here. And then the pin will support it. Well, I missed it. Yeah, still missing it. Okay, I'm gonna have to do what I did the last time, which is turn it this way. There we go. Aha. Now, what I ended up doing was taking all the little 12 little Technic pins that I had in that little pit at the bottom from the last video, and I've spilled those out, so guess I need to put those back real quick. Make sure I've got all 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and those will just go right back in. Finally got those pinned in there. Oh, and so next we're going to swing these towards the middle, and then we're going to pin those into place through there. So this is fascinating. I guess these are, I don't know, I guess these are extra supports, like beams, that keep it together, maybe. I guess we'll find out. Once again, you're doing some blind wriggling of pieces, trying to make sure it goes through. There we go. Once you have it, though, once you got it, you got it. And over here on this side, I go through. And then straight through there. And now we definitely look like we've got some pencils going through there. Now, let's see. I actually made one funny mistake. Is apparently the white little part that's right down here, that is apparently supposed to be at the bottom of the structure. So it's okay. All I got to do is take the pin out right here, and then we'll be good to go. And I'll just reposition it real quick. Yeah. See, the white needs to be down like this onto this part. Who'd have thought? Not even really sure what the purpose of the white little join is there. Don't know. Now we'll just pin that right back in. Any faith that the viewers had in my skills up until this point has been shattered. There we go. See, faith restored. Everything good. We have another one of these little pieces, which are like a support beam. And it looks like we're just kind of laying it over the spot. Just clicking that in. Good. And then we have the giant support beam here. We're just going to augment it with a few different pieces. We have this little turquoise extension right here. Tearing it over. We've got one right there. Whoop. And one over here. Okay, and for this, looks like that this one's actually going to be clipped onto these brown pieces here. So you see two little yellow clips. We're gonna just take those. Woohoo, not like that. Or like that. Easier said than done, apparently. Start with this side, click, And clickety. That's interesting how we can flex that just a little. You know, it's funny, that concludes the third bag. And apparently, you know, we've not built a single building so far. So 3 bags, but there's a lot of bags. I think there's 17 bags in this, which is one of the highest bag counts I've had in a little while with the set. Lot of the first part of the build dedicated to getting these first little support areas down. And what we've done is we built the foundation that everything's going to branch off from. So I think that's going to be really cool. I think it'll make more sense when we see it together. We may be building our first little tiny miniature building. And it's definitely one of the smaller ones that's at the bottom. And I think that it's here in bag number 4. So let's make it happen. A lot of blue. I don't know what this building is going to be, but we'll figure it out. Okay, at first we're going to be building a little robot, actually. And there's several of these guys, which I think are meant to be like city workers or something that are robotic, which once again gives me really strong Ninjago City vibes. I don't own any of those sets because I don't have the space, but and I'm just not a huge Ninjago guy, but I don't know. It's funny to see these little similarities crop up. I think that's what got people hyped for this set when they first shown it, was that it was an opportunity to have a slightly smaller, slightly cheaper Ninjago City, where this was more based, it was based less on having an enclosed appearance and more based on minifig fun, good old functionality. You know, how many things are there for your minifigs to do? Now, I'm not a Lego City guy. I'm just not. Plenty of people are. They love Lego City and really dedicated to it. I'm not. But I definitely understand why they are. However, I've thought for years that if the Lego City people would just go a little harder when it comes to giving me like more complete looking buildings, I would be way more apt to buy those sets, because I'm all about like miniaturizing and making facades in Lego and it not being exactly 100% perfect or whatever. And this is no slight to the city people, because I think they're serving a very specific need. But I will say that if they could look at what the Ninjago set, not Ninjago, the Monkey Kid sets are doing, and look at how they're taking Ninjago and miniaturizing it a little bit, and they've got a style that would be perfect for something like those Lego City builds. I think that they could increase the number of people who are interested in City if they would just look at Monkey Kid and see these little mini buildings that have the functionality of City with the open backs and all of that. And they're not worried about enclosing it or anything. But also have some of the design prints, some of the design imprints for something like a modular. Not at all detailed like a modular is, but has some of those flourishes, some of those things that suggest that really finished, complete exterior look, then I think you'd be cooking with gas. I really do. I think that that's Horse City would take on a lot more prominence for a whole lot of folks. It would certainly take on prominence for me. I can only speak for myself and say that that would be a very big deal for me. All right, do we have our completed guy right here? Yep, I believe so. Here he is. He's very interesting. He looks kind of like a wind-up toy, doesn't he? Because that almost looks like a little wind-up in the back there. I also think it's really funny that he's got this green hat. It's a transparent green hat. Hilarious. Okay, cool. Yeah, we'll go ahead and it's also worth noting that on the back of his head he has some robot printing. I don't know if this printing on the face is new necessarily. We may have already seen that somewhere. But we are going to set him right over here with Demon Bull King. So he can keep an eye on the Demon Bull King for us. You know, I'm actually surprised that LEGO didn't attempt to westernize some of the names a little bit more. Like Demon Bull King. That's a very, it almost sounds kind of literal, you know, for your translation. I'm surprised they didn't give him like an actual villain name. Dragon Ball it up a little bit, you know. I think there could have been an opportunity to have done that there. But I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad that it retains the flavor. I do wonder if there were discussions like that. Or I also have to wonder if maybe there was some original talk of westernizing this theme quite a bit more, making it more like Ninjago. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if eventually that notion was killed off because of Ninjago. I think that LEGO is very, very scared of accidentally hurting themselves. And when I say hurting themselves, I mean hurting the validity of Ninjago. Drawing kids away from it. I think at this point, Ninjago has become such a staple of LEGO that they don't want to cannibalize their own customer base for it and send them in another direction. I think that they're afraid of that. And while I think that that's warranted, it also speaks to some of the danger that we're getting into with Ninjago, which is that instead of original themes, we're getting Ninjago in every configuration. Gone are the days when you would have, you know, like a dedicated LEGO science fiction theme that's absorbed into City and it's absorbed into Ninjago. I guess you could make the same argument about Monkie Kid, that it's taking away some of those, but it's hard to argue against it when it's it's one of the only other original themes. At least it's different than Ninjago. And it's so original that it doesn't feel like it's absorbing a whole lot of those other themes. I will say the Galactic Explorer is the closest we've gotten to one of those cool LEGO space sets in forever. And yes, I realized that for the LEGO movies that there were space sets or whatever. Yeah, that's different. That's more like a celebration of LEGO's legacy. It's not quite the same thing. What I mean is something like Space Police or Blacktron or Ice Planet, any of that. That's what I'm talking about. Those sorts of themes that were just new variations on space. Oops, this trash can is fun. I like that it's so green too. Maybe Oscar the Grouch needs to upgrade. I mean, this would be more in keeping the theme up, right? Okay. We have a little bit of vegetation. I doubt we'll be seeing much vegetation in the City of Lanterns. But it's cool that there's a few little remnants kind of poking through. Even in the biggest cities, it's amazing to look down and see that there's little spots where, you got roots trying to break through the pavement or something like that. Nature is persistent, I guess is what we'd say there. Quite persistent. All right. You know what's interesting about this bag right here is that we're almost done. It's not like the previous ones were. There's a whole lot less to this one because I think from here on out, and I could be wrong, but I think what we're going to see is like bags be focused on different structures, and then you just kind of connect the structure to the frame. I think there's still some other base elements to build that we're going to get to just to keep it fresh as it goes. But I think for the most part that a bag will be like, okay, here is a bag for a thing you're going to build. It's going to be less cumulative and more individual buildings, which I imagine will keep the pace really strong. And what I'm going to say, this is before I even build the rest, so it might be a foolish assumption. What I'm going to say is if you can get through those first 3 bags of building like the superstructure, I'm starting to sound like Admiral Akbar from Star Wars when he's talking about Death Star 2, and he's like, fly into the superstructure. Well, if you can get through that, then I think things start to accelerate a lot. And Monkie Kid has been really good about breaking things into many, many, many different bags, which to me always makes a set feel like you're making more progress faster, is if it's separated into more bags and it's more individualized stuff. I feel like that almost eliminates a whole lot of that feeling of drag that you get, where it's just going on and on forever and ever. And if I've said it once, I've said it a million times, the Lego designers are way more interested in pace these days and building experience. However, I watched a review the other day for the new Lego Globe, which I think was a Lego Ideas set, I think. And the globe looks really impressive, and being a geography guy, I'll say that it really appeals to me because I just think it's awesome looking, and I love globes, and I love geography, and I love maps. But according to him, the guy who I saw reviewing it, he said, and I believe this, he said that it was kind of a miserable experience building it. He said that it wasn't much fun and that the end product was amazing. He loved it. He loved the set. But the actual methodology of building the thing was mind-numbing because it was all these little support structures that once you built one, you knew how to build them all again and again, repeat, without much variety to anything, except for, of course, the little tiles that made up the actual map part of the globe. That's what he said that it was all about, that it was all about just making these little wedge sections and that you would just stick them onto a big frame that you'd built where all the pieces, all the little structures were the same. And it sounded pretty miserable, I gotta say. Sounds kind of miserable. Here's the thing, though. Most of the people building that are going to be grown people. So I don't think they're going to mind a repetitive situation like that. But I think building experience is important. I don't think that just because you're an adult doesn't mean you should have to do these monotonous, never-ending, samey steps over and over again. But then again, if you're building something like that, how could it not be like that? Was there a way that could have been alleviated? Was there something that they should have done about the order that you build it in? Is it really, that miserable, or was that more of an exaggeration by the guy building it? I don't know. I really don't. But those are just questions I have about that whole building experience because I don't really know. So here's something. I'm going to save you a lot of hurt if you build this set, if you buy this set. The first window sticker that comes on this, which is sticker number 47, is turned right side up to where the building and all that are right side up. But it's showing you in the directions that you're going to put it upside down, and then you're going to attach it this way. I can't tell you how easy it would have been to have messed that up and put it on right side up, and then it turned out to be upside down. So I'm telling you right now that is dangerous when it comes to the way that they put that on there. And I think that's bad. They should have been a little more careful there, because that really would have been bad. Because this isn't one of those pieces where you could put it on one way and, oh, it doesn't matter, just rotate the piece. Nope. This piece is meant to go one way. You might be wondering, where did I go? Well, I figure I might as well save myself a lot of hurt and put this on off screen, off camera. Because if I don't, I'm going to mess up and then have to redo it, and it'll be a whole thing. Good enough. Okay, I've got it. See, used to I worried about that with some of these live streams. I'm like, oh, how can I put them on camera? I'd rather take a little bit of extra caution, get it right, and then not have to redo it a million times off camera, which is what I ended up having to do a whole lot. Is I would then just have to pull it off camera and say, okay, well, now I'm going to redo it real quick and try to act like I wasn't. There we go. You see, it's almost, I don't know what we're looking at here. Maybe this is like a little map or a little hologram almost that pops up, almost like a console where you're looking at all the different parts of the city, like like in a mall, which here in a few years, all malls, it looks like are going to be closed. But you know how there was always the guide map in a mall that like tells you where everything's at? I think that's kind of what they're trying to convey with that. And what's interesting is that I think most Lego stores in the West are in shopping malls. So I don't know what happens then to the presence of the Lego store. Could it be that the Disney store is showing us the future? Because the Disney store, that was a huge highlight of any mall, I think. And then you've got it now to where there's, I think that they announced that there would just, I don't know if there's even going to be regular Disney stores anymore in malls. Ours closed that we had. And I think that it was part of their plan to just close them all. All right. So once again, I'm going to warn you. You're putting it on, it's showing upside down when, you could turn it around like this. But you have to put these on in an upside down kind of fashion for them to make sense. So I'm glad that I haven't messed up on that, because I'm telling you right now that it's something you could easily mess up on. I'll try not to ever say easily like that ever again. I'm sorry. But yeah, you really could, in all seriousness, mess up on it, like no problem. Not that it would be the end of the world. I actually have a pretty good little method when it comes to getting Lego stickers off. And I'll share it with you in just a second when I get this guy on here. I shared this one time, you know, back when, speaking of retailers that aren't around anymore, when I was at Toys R Us, and I was buying some Lego sets, and the person who was running the register, they were telling me that their significant other was a big Lego collector, and they were always getting them new sets. And I shared this method with them because they were talking about how hard it was to get stickers right. So I'll definitely show you this method. It's simple, and it's pretty effective, I think, in case you mess up. And it saves me a whole lot of time and worry. So check it out. All you got to do anytime you want to remove a sticker is you take the wax paper that the stickers come on, and you just take it and you nudge it into a corner very slightly, and you kind of saw it up and down and work your way under the sticker, and then you peel the sticker off with this wax paper. I'm not sure that they intend you to do that, but because it doesn't really stick to the sticker and it's thin, it's the perfect thing to get in under it without you having to take your finger. All right. Let's get it right here. Okay, and once again, this will go on this little console right here. There we are. Now, we have another stickered surface to do. Once again, be cognizant that you don't want to accidentally put this on the wrong way, because it once again has you putting it on upside down from your perspective. So you just want to be careful about that. I'll go ahead and get that put on off camera so that I don't mess it up and end up having to redo it again and again. Maybe save you a little time too. Well, you don't have to watch a grown man have a panic attack over a sticker placement on a Lego set. I remember before I started doing any of these Lego live streams on the channel, thinking, okay, the main reason I would never be able to do that is because I'm so particular about decal placement, and that I wouldn't be able to effectively live stream like that. But I've found that people are pretty generally forgiving about you having to do that in a live stream. I mean, I honestly think most folks are just happy to be watching and, you know, just get to share a conversation about Lego. So I don't know what I was worried about. And that's something you'll find on YouTube, that honestly, 99.9% of the people in your audience are great people. They're considerate and supportive and nice. And very, very few people are some kind of like awful jerk or something like that. Those people are awfully loud, but they're not very numerous, it turns out. There's very few of them, actually. Especially when it comes to sci-fi fandoms like Masters of the Universe fandoms and all that. And the people who this past year have gotten a really bad name for being kind of bigoted. And some of them have been. They really have been. But those people are so few and far between, I don't even have to address it most of the time. I just kind of just let their comments sit there, unless it's just something awful. Because, you know, make no mistake, they have a right to their opinions. But if it's something stupid or, you know, completely awful, I'm going to get rid of it. But that doesn't happen often. Honestly, most folks, if they disagree, they do it in a respectful way to where it's not personal. They're just telling their point of view, and it's not a big deal. And we all get along, and it's not personal. So I got nothing but good things to say about 99.9% of the people on YouTube. It's all hype. It's all hype, everybody. I think people get bent out of shape over nothing. Nothing but positive vibes for most of the time. And it's a shame because I think there's a lot of people who get discouraged about not wanting to do YouTube, not wanting to do video content when it makes them happy. So why not do it if it makes you happy? You know, you're not trying to do it to make a fortune that's robs you of your joy. If all you're worried about with this platform is money, then you're not going to get very far. If you're not enjoying yourself, people can see that from a mile away. If you're not making content you really believe in, people know that too. They pick up on that. They can smell it, in a sense. So always, I guess, just be true to what you love in your channel. You know, it's going to follow. Ooh, this is a neat sticker we're applying here with the lanterns. And it has a little eye thing on it, which makes me think that it's like an information kiosk. And we're going to apply that real quick. All right. Put that right over here. Yep, I was right. Pretty sure this is an information kiosk that you go to at the City of Lanterns. Find out about everything that's going on in the city you're there. I think that's really cool looking, actually. And that was our first little building. We're now going to put some pins in to make it attachable to everything else. There's a little pin there. There's a pin. There's a pin. And there's a pin. Okay. Oh, and we have some fun little details here. We have a giant wrench and a big broom. And I guess those are going to go in this little area here, which is kind of like what you'd see in a city, like a little maintenance area. And there's a cone there. So it's kind of the underworkings, the under area of the city there. I like this. That's cool. All right, guys. Well, for now, I guess this is probably a good stopping point as any. May come back later. You never know. For bag 5 and all that later today. It depends on what happens. And of course, you know, be sure to check that out when we do. Usually I don't live stream during the day like this. Had a day off, and I figured why not catch a few earlier risers, I suppose. But or those who are also off from work or something. But yeah, if you're watching this after your work, sorry I missed you. And maybe I'll catch you tonight or tomorrow night. All right, take care. Fanboy out. God bless.